All right. Welcome back everyone. Medyo behave ako kasi medyo nasa social area tayo. Baka paalisin tayo. Naka-check out na ako. So I'm gonna behave myself in terms of ingay, but not behave myself in terms of yung mga questions na gusto natin pag-usapan today. Today, I'm joined by no less than yung matagal kong friend, pero ngayon ko lang naging friend sa Facebook ay Congressman, Representative Percy Sendanya. Thank you very much, Percy, for joining us.
Maraming salamat, Richard. I'm very happy to have you now, finally, as my Facebook friend. So it's always nice to have a new Facebook friend. Ayan, matagal na po kami magkakilala na, Richard. Siguro from more than a decade ago.
Yes, absolutely. When
Tama ba? Yes.
I was just a lonely staff in Walden's office, the greatest.
Office, yes. Yeah, we shared one office dito sa house nung panahon na yun. Ramdam na ramdam mo talaga yung level of marginalization ng party list. There were two representatives sharing one very small office. So we had the back room and then they had the front room. Ayan. So nakiki-CR kayo sa amin kayo dumadaan nung panahon na yun.
Hindi lang yun, ba't yung mga kape nyo ng 3-in-1? Mga sugar. Mga
Yes.
Grepa days. Obviously, Congressman Percy, I want to talk about obviously yung impeachment, yung quotable quote na sinabi, kung gusto, may paraan na pwedeng applicable sa love life, sa lahat ng bagay. But before that, Percy, just 2 points, no? First of all, a little bit about, of course, yourself, just for folks who need to be more oriented, but more importantly, again, alam ko many people have heard already about the distinctions, especially in light of Riza, Hontiveros, doing great in the Senate, but also we had people from the Makabayan side also on this show. So siguro naman, Percy, happy ka rin to be on my show and not only my Facebook friend. Ka-Percy, what is the distinction? Kasi nakaka-confuse pa rin ng tao. It sounds different, the same, di ba? Akbayan, Makabayan. Ano yung mga differences?
Makabayan, oo.
Yeah, exactly. Anong similarities, differences, whatever. Because you guys had back-to-back filing of the impeachment. So for the purpose of people not getting confused, first, what is the difference? And then the difference in the impeachment complaint.
Ayan, una, magkahiwalay pong grupo ang Makabayan at Akbayan. At yung differences namin parang both ideological and historical. Medyo mahaba yung kwento pag pinag-usapan natin ng political spectrum. Pero sabihin na lang po natin na ideologically, both nasa kaliwa, pero magkaiba yung ating ideological moorings and foundation. So, huwag na tayong pumunta doon sa SMs. Pag-usapan na lang natin na ibang klase yung ating tinitindigang mga ideolohiya. So magkaiba po ang Makabayan at saka ang Akbayan. Tapos even yung mga personalities in both camps talaga magkahiwalay ang kasaysayan ng mga yan. So halimbawa yung Akbayan, we trace our roots dun kila Eta Rosales, kila Joel Rocamora, sige na nga up to a certain extent kay Ronald Llamas. Ayan, so that is our history na tumawid hanggang kina Rizzo Ontiveros, kina Kakabag-aw. So that is the very short political history of Akbayan. Pero sa dulo, yung Akbayan kasi yung unang progressive group na nakita ang party list system as a viable vehicle for social change. Kasi nung panahon na yan, this was in the early 90s, after the People Power Revolution, yung mga progressives, they could never imagine themselves in government. Diba? Hindi nila papasukin ng gobyerno kasi nila madumi, kakainin tayo ng sistema. Pero dahil nga sa innovation ng People Power Constitution, yung party list system, pumasok yung Akbayan. So yung Akbayan, ang unang progresibong grupo na nangahas pasukin yung party list system. So for more than 2 decades, yung Akbayan na may pinakamatagal at mahabang kasaysayan sa party list. Pero kahit na kami may pinakamahabang kasaysayan sa party list, ako yung pinakabagong member of the House of Representatives. Ano pa lang tayo ngayon? This is my second month at ang dami nang nangyari. Ang biruan nga dito sa house, sabi gano'n ni Sec John Velasco, 2 buwan ka pa lang dito, nanganak ka na. Sabi niya gano'n.
At mukhang twins pa, hindi lang nanganak. Percy, tanong ko rin, again, for the purpose of our wider audience, kasi maraming mga skepticism, if not cynicism, around itong issue na ito. Itong issue ng party list. Pwede mo explain, at least from punto de vista ng akbayan and yourself, in your personal journey, gaano kamahalaga itong party list system para bigyan ng boses ang mga marginalized groups at saka mga totoong progresibo na grupo?
Ayan, sige. So siguro, nauunawaan namin. We understand sa nanggagaling yung cynicism, yung skepticism, yung pessimism, and even frustration ng ating mga kababayan. Kasi hindi naman perpekto yung sistema. At mula noong 1998, when it was first introduced, hanggang ngayon, maraming pagbabago sa party list na not necessarily for the better. Sabi nga ng iba, the party list system is bastardized. Sabi ng iba, yung party list system ay nagiging backdoor ng traditional politicians sa Kongreso. At ito nga, recently I've read the report na parang kitang-kita mo daw yung hand ng political dynasties, yung influence ng political dynasties in the party list system. So kung nung simula, yung progressives tulad ng Akbayan, ang marami sa party list ngayon, parang tayo yung minority doon sa party list. Kasi tandaan natin, this began as a platform for up-and-coming movements, groups, political parties na hindi pa kaya mag-contest ng district seats. Kaya kinakailangan bigyan sila ng pagkakataon to participate sectorally, representing marginalized sectors or representing potential up-and-coming political parties.
And Percy kasi of course nakikita natin lahat 'di ba na ginagamit ito as a kind of a affordable backdoor back into office or kung ayaw nila maging all out I mean it's a cheap way of also creating dynasties for some people, right? You know, like congressional district yung asawa, yung isang asawa or kabit ay nasa party list. So unfortunately but ano yung diagnosis mo in terms of itong adulteration na lang gamitin kong term to be more neutral ng etong
And
part.
very kind. You're very kind.
Yeah, I'm very kind.
Well, panahon pa ni Eta Rosales, no, yung during her third term, sinabi na niya there has to be reforms in the party list system. So halimbawa, yung isang challenge nga ay baka finally kailangan nating i-define what does marginalized mean. No? Yun yung unang hamon. Tapos pangalawa, baka balikan natin ano ba talaga yung esensya ng party list following what is in the spirit of the Constitution. Marami kasi nangyayari at yung ilan dyan hindi legislative. Most of this came about because of judicial legislation, mga desisyon ng Supreme Court. Kaya nagbago yung formula, nagbago yung sino pwede mag-participate, etc.
Do you want to go a little bit deeper into this? Kasi may mga nag-disagree sa akin when I said yung Supreme Court ruling dun sa issue ng definition ng hindi lang ano yung marginalized, pero sinong pwede mag-represent ng marginalized. For me, that opened the can of worms eh. Some people, especially with legal
Yes.
background, ay hindi nag-agree doon. But para sa akin, I think that was a problematic intervention, if I can put it that way.
Yes. Huwag na nga tayong pumunta dun sa masyadong legal arguments. Eh. Doon lang tayo dun sa naging outcome or impact. Nandito tayo ngayon sa ganitong sitwasyon precisely because of that. So, when you're looking at the history of the party list at binangga mo siya doon sa kasaysayan ng mga desisyon ng korte, makita mo, dito nagsimula mag-open yung floodgates ng party list system. Kaya hamon talaga that the House and the Senate should finally look into seriously yung reform of the party list system. Huwag nating hayaan yung mga korte ang mag-define kung ano at paano papatakbuhin yung sistemang ito.
Percy, just a little bit for the purpose of our audience, can you tell us a little bit about your own background? Saan yung saan galing itong aktivismo mo? Saan galing itong dedication mo, mga adikain mo? Just for people to appreciate more.
Ayan. So, bago ako pumasok ng Akbayan, aktivista na ako. No? So, I was a youth leader. I was a student activist. 2 weeks ago, I attended the National Congress of the Student Council Alliance of the Philippines. And parang they were also celebrating their 25th year or 27th year. So, I was the founding president of that and I felt so old. Sabi ko, hindi ko na uli yun gagawin. That is the first and last time
Founder ka
na attend ako
pala.
ng SCAP Congress. Yes. Sabi ko, hindi ko na siya gagawin kasi
Hindi
parang
lang pala
feel
si
ko ako ko
Ronald
na
ang
ang mga
founder.
ito.
Hindi lang pala si Ronald ang founder
Oo.
na regular natin. So hopefully it'll be our next regular founder member.
Parang hindi aspirational na maging Ronald Llamas. Oo. Hindi ako sure ha. Though alam ko maraming fans si Secretary Ronald Llamas, aka Secretary Edo Manzanas, aka Love Love. Okay. Sige. So nagsimula yung activism ko. Madalas ang sinasabi kong Genesis story ay dahil sa pamilya ko. Taga Nueva Ecija ako. I come from a farming community, isang rural farming community, isang baryo. Ang pangalan ng baryo, so difficult to pronounce. Sino kung nga kung kaya mo i-pronounce, Mayapyap. Mayapyap.
Parang may sasabihin ako pero baka hindi na ako makapasok sa baryo niyo. Saka pumunta doon sa
Ayan.
mayap-yap na lugar. Parang gano'n, diba?
Ayan. So Mayapyap yung pangalan ng aming barangay. Tapos may parokya doon. Tapos kadalasan, because it's a very small parish, so nagiging parokya siya ng mga pare na hindi masyadong mahilig sa malalaking parokya. Kaya kadalasan, ang pare namin, mga aktivista. So madalas yung mga pare na madiin on social justice, ecological
I mean,
justice,
liberation
for IP
theology
rights,
types. I mean, liberation.
liberation theology types. Yes, yun ang kanilang favorite hangout kasi it's a small parish, walang may gusto. So doon sila madalas na pupunta. So yung magulang ko, they were very much involved in the church. Tapos, minsan nag-attend kami ng prosesyon. Tapos sa prosesyon na yon, pinahiga kami sa highway. Tapos yung pala, die-in na pala yun. Nagrarally pala sila against illegal loggers kasi this was in the late 80s, early 90s. So sobrang tindi ng illegal logging sa Nueva Ecija at ayun, binabaha kami. So yun ang aking first political rally. It's an anti-illegal logging rally. Tapos, die-in. Nagharang kami ng mga loggers galing sa bundok pababa para ibiyahe yung kanila maninakaw na troso. So, doon nagsimula. And then pumasok ako sa UP, na-recruit ako sa Akbayan. Tapos sa mahabang panahon, parang ang political life ko umikot talaga sa Akbayan. I started out as campaigns officer of Akbayan, naging deputy section, naging chief of staff ni Risa Ontiveros during her last term in the House. Tapos I was her first campaign manager and second campaign manager for her second run. So yung first run niya na number 13, yung heartbreaking na number 13, ano yun, ako yun. It's on me. So, yun. So, and later on, I became party chair, no? So, sabi ni Ronald, ako daw yung unang baklang, ako daw yung, sabi niya, ikaw yung first gay political party, you're the first gay chair of a progressive political party in the world. So sabi ko, so nagtataras ka pala kung ilan na ang mga gay party chairs ng mga
May
progressive political
ledger pala
parties
si,
in the world.
may ledger pala si,
Oo. May ledgers.
Senior
Oo.
Ronald. But let me clarify. Wait. Did you just say na naging aktivista ka I mean, naging human shield ka without knowing what you were, I mean, did you like stumble into becoming an activista? Pinadala ka lang. Humiga kayo dyan. Bakit po? Basta humiga kayo dyan. Ano po?
Di, kasama ko yung magulang.
Exactly.
Wala naman masyadong violations ng child rights kasi kasama ko yung magulang ko. Tapos parang ano kami, parang
It doesn't make
isang
it less.
prosesyon. Yeah. Now I'm realizing. So I have to call my mother after this. So parang nag-attend kami ng religious activity. Pero alam ng nanay ko at saka tatay ko that it's a rally against illegal logging. Tapos higa-higa kami sa kalye at so happy kami. Nung pala ay die-in na pala yun. So yun yung aking exposure sa activism. And it's an issue that's very close to our hearts kasi kami talaga yung binabaha yung lugar namin because of the illegal logging around,
Deforestation.
especially in the Sierra Madre. Oo. Mm-mm.
Pwede mo naman
So ayun,
pangalanan.
totoo.
Yeah, you can name the culprits just if you want. Parang kilala ko si mga culprits diyan.
Oo, pwede naman, oo, pwede
Pwede
naman.
naman.
Oo. Pero
Pero baka,
unahin ko muna siguro ang pangalanan nyo. Unahin ko siguro ang pangalanan yung mga magulang ko kasi mukhang
ayan,
gustong sampan. Hindi ko na alam kung pasok pa sa prescriptive period, parang lagpas na. Oo, lagpas na.
baka naman kasi kapitbahay mo dyan sa Congress, yung mga walang yang, just kidding. Trouble. Ka-Percy, wait lang, na-distract ako kay Ronald. May ledger pala siya. Speaking of, by the way, hindi ito related Percy. This is totally
Yeah.
unrelated. I just have a question. Do you have any idea na saan si Harry Roque ngayon? Dahil, I don't know why, but when I asked Justice Carpio, ano bang mga bansa na may extradition? Kasi na-confirm daw ni Justice Carpio na wala na sa Abu Dhabi. Tapos,
Sumala siya sa...
wala na siya sa Abu Dhabi, but I don't know, randomly Justice Carpio said, Morocco. Sabi ko, anong mga bansa na? Tapos the next thing I know, 180,
Social.
180 countries na walang extradition sa atin, but he mentioned Morocco in particular. What do you think that was coincidental? Ano bang alam mo dun sa networks?
Wala akong naririnig sa ngayon. Pero nisang araw, parang I made a naughty post na dapat panagutin yung mga nagpatakas kay Harry Roque. Tapos medyo, hindi siya ganun kanipis para makalabas ang notice. Oo. Tapos ayun. marami na inis sa akin kasi ano daw siya, slightly on the verge of fat shaming. Pero yun. So, wala tayong nakukuha from the grapevine. Pero kung nasa Morocco, I won't be surprised, no? Alam naman natin ang kanyang taste at lifestyle. So, ang taray, ang
Mas
bongga.
ang debate dito is Casablanca or Marrakesh, gano'n. Yung mga, wala akong sinasabi ah. This is just mga makulit natin mga nagko-comment.
Alam mo, parang ikaw ang nakakaalam. Baka isusummon ka namin sa next committee hearing, no? Uh, to shed light on the actual location of Harry Roque.
Sige, see you in Abu Dhabi na lang. I'll join via Zoom.
Uh, uh,
Percy, okay, this is a bit more serious question, but still within the Harry Roque
yeah.
universe. Honestly, ano ba tingin kay Harry Roque considering this person was an ex-human rights lawyer, right? I mean, he was within the progressive circles, at least, flying around. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to put you on the spot, but he was also
Oh,
representative there in your Congress.
yeah. He used to be a representative of a party list group here.
Kabayan, no?
During that time, during that time na siya ay ano pa, progressive, or hindi nga progressive, human rights lawyer. In fact, magkakasama nga tayo sa maraming campaigns, even yung campaign ng panahon ng GMA administration. So kasama natin siya. Tapos, in fact, there were some friends from the left na naging staff pa niya sa Congress. Kasi di ba, these people at that point believed in him. So only to realize later that they were all deceived. Ang alam ko yung unang setang staff niya dito sa Kongreso, mga progresibo eh. So, magaling pala sa method acting si Harry Roque apparently.
Hey, nagre-react yung mga method actors na Bollywood dito. Like, excuse me. Pero ang may nahanap akong katapat niya, may post ko, yung defense minister ni Assad nung isang gabi na sabi niya, no problem, we just withdraw because, it's for safety reasons, yung mga ganun. Like, may nahanap akong spokesman na ka-level ni Harry mag-spin ng situation. I'm just saying. Okay, Percy, before we say something na politically incorrect or we get canceled, let's just get out of the Harry Roque universe a bit. Ihabol na lang natin next time. Bakit may ganyan na sound? Okay. Bakit ba may sound na para magical sound? Um,
Yes.
Congressman,
Para may magic lamp.
yes. Kung nga, bakit parang tuwing, jaring, alis tayo dyan. I'll put you a bit on the spot, Percy. Hindi pa naka-on the spot pa kayo na. What is your read of the situation now? Because, again, not only with si Secretary Llamas, a very questionable character, to put it mildly, but, even more legit people I've talked to, including Senator De Lima, for instance, they're saying na the climate has slightly been more hospitable, at least for democratic space ngayon, even if the name of the person in the Malacanang was not the most reassuring one. Can I get your honest opinion on this, Percy, to the degree na you won't get totally into trouble? Like, is there more democratic space now compared to the Duterte time? Because I know it was really hell for you guys in Akbayan back in the day. Let's just put it honestly.
Oh, well, kung sa level ng repression ng panahon ng Duterte, reprieve talaga itong panahong ito para sa maraming mga pwersa sa Pilipinas. Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun na dahil may reprieve, ito na talaga yung ideal situation. We really have to work for it at tiyakin na hindi makakabalik yung mga Duterte. Hindi na tayo babalik doon sa panahon na yun. Halimbawa, isang very critical na dapat bantayan at tingnan natin is how the impeachment will progress. No, kasi 'di ba kahit sinasabi natin may reprieve, sinasabi natin mayroong pagbukas ng mga democratic spaces, mayroong uling pag-rebuild ng integrity ng mga institutions, mayroong restoration of regularity ng mga democratic processes. Itong impeachment will be a litmus test for that. So I hope that una dito sa House maayos yung maging handling hanggang sa ma-transmit siya sa Senado, and I hope that the Senate will give this the fair attention that it deserves. Kasi medyo disappointing lately. Hindi ko na ito dapat sabihin pero interparliamentary courtesy daw. Pero sige, sabihin ko na. Medyo disappointing lately. Oo.
Percy,
Sige, pero ano pa naman? Pwede naman lang.
Usually, I let Ronald say the politically incorrect stuff. So next time, let's have him with us para... Ronald, anong tawag niya sa nangyari?
Yes. Pero sige, sabihin ko na rin, pwede ko naman, I can always say na dahil bago pa lang ako dito sa trabaho, kaya hindi ko pa siya masyadong gamay. So medyo disappointing yung statement ng ilang mga senador lately about their views and their take on the impeachment. Kasi di ba, una kinosyo na nga sila from speaking to preserve the integrity of the process kasi uupo sila as senator judges. Pero may mga statements sila that show their biases. So una, this impeachment process in the House, especially in the Senate, will also be a political test on our political leaders in the Senate. Parang kung paano yung kondukta nila sa impeachment complaint na ito, panonoodin sila ng taong bayan. Natandaan natin, may panahon na yung mga tao doon sa Senado, makapangyarihan sila noon at hindi maayos yung kondukta nila, siningil sila ng taong bayan. So I hope that the senators will be very mindful of this.
Well, Percy, I mean, that was a great transition, but inubos mo kaagad yung content. Wait lang, medyo rewind tayo ng konti. I could see in your face na medyo nairita ka pero hindi mo pinakita yan because you're such a nice person, Percy. But I noticed they keep on asking you, but you don't have the numbers. You don't have the numbers. Doon sa reporters, di ba? Kitang-kita ko yan. And it's like, I'm sure sa loob ng mind mo, nag-eye roll ka. Why should we, let's just say, eye roll at these kinds of essentially the question came with the argument that you only file if sigurado ka na mangyayari yung impeachment, di ba? Essentially, that's the argument that was throwing at you. So kaya sinabi mo, kung gusto, may paraan. But more than that, what you're saying is that may basihan talaga itong impeachment na to, that this is not a demolition job. This is about upholding the constitutional order. As much as we're saying hindi perfect yung current administration, right? So can you a little bit expound on that, Percy?
Yeah. Kung titingnan mo yung narrative from early this year hanggang ngayon, lalo na yung narrative dito sa House, ito yung isang logical conclusion. Kasi di ba, una, si Sara was given the chance to explain herself in various committee hearings and meetings na una, she refused to attend. Nung nag-attend siya, she refused to take oath. Nung nag-oath naman siya, binastos niya yung proseso. O yung iba, dinedman na lang niya lahat. So, hindi talaga nag-work yung mechanisms na yun. Kaya walang ibang choice kundi yung impeachment. At ang maganda lang sa mga nangyari, nag-unfold yung narrative before the eyes of the nation. Kaya nga ba tinawag nila, this is the Quad Complex, the Congress Flix, the Senate Flix, kasi mataas yung level of interest. So sinasabi ng iba, ngayon kayo magpa-file, wala ng panahon. So kailan yung tamang panahon after election? Baka iba na yung political dynamics by then. So ang sagot naman natin doon, yung the best time to hold abusive officials accountable is as soon as possible. Kung hindi ito gagawin ngayon, maaaring mahirapan na tayong gawin in the future kung ipagpapaliban pa natin. We understand yung concern do sa limitation ng time. Kaya nga umaasa pa rin tayo. Sana either mag-fast track o maging mabilis yung proseso dito sa House of Representatives so that the Senate can have more time. At sana din, kung posible pa, magkatotoo yung sinasabi ng iba na baka daw merong isang petition that could gather enough signatures, a third of the members of the House, 106 signatures, para diretso na ng Senado at wala ng committee deliberations kasi medyo matagal din yun. So, when Akbayan was studying impeachment complaint na inilapit sa atin ng mga petitioners, yung isa naging basihan talaga namin in making that decision to finally push through ay parang yung prinsipyo natin bilang partido, sinasabi na dapat natin itong gawin. Kasi kung hindi natin ito gagawin, hindi lamang may impunity sa violence, may impunity din sa corruption, magkakaroon din ng impunity sa abuse of power. So, yan yung pinanggagalingan ng Akbayan when we decided to finally endorse the impeachment. During that time, may numbers na ba? I can honestly say, di ay masasagot na meron na. No? In fact, up to now, tingin ko uphill battle pa rin ito. Pero it's an uphill battle na tingin ko ang pagkakaiba, kasama mo yung taong bayan na nanonood ng kwento at alam nila yung katotohanan. And hopefully, yung third leg ng impeachment process, which is public opinion, will be favorable towards a conviction. Kasi alam naman natin, mahalaga yon doon sa decision-making processes ng ating mga senator judges.
Percy, since you gave me already an opening and saying that you're gonna use your amateur hour as an excuse to to balahura. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. Going back to this, Percy, kami nila Justice Carpio and even Ronald, we've been in trouble all the time kasi medyo mabilis kami magsalita in a sense that parang nung September pa lang, sinabi namin baka pwede na impeachment kasi parang ang dami ng ebidensya na lumalabas. September, October pa lang, I would say medyo you could see like something
Yeah.
is going on here. And January pa lang yung tatay nila was openly essentially calling for insurrection as a I mean and dami I mean if you want to strictly look at it on legal terms, medyo banana republic if nothing happened even earlier. So the question is actually why December, why not November, why not October?
Ako tingin ko yung isang mahalagang turning point ito nakaraang panahon, yung kanyang grave threats. Parang tingin ko yun yung threshold talaga
Hindi yung
na
ganyan siya
ano
no
na
month, di ba sabi niya, they dream it to behead. Wasn't that the threshold already? I mean, like, what else are we waiting for?
oh, kasi yun nakikinualify pa yun daydreaming. Ito sinabi niya talaga hindi joke ito. 'Di ba sabi niya hindi joke ito na
But
kung may
first,
mangyari sa
he
kanya.
said it's a conditional threat. Only if pinatay niyo ako, then patayin ko kayo. I mean, like, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oo. Pero nonetheless, sinabi niya nag-hire na siya, may kinausap na siyang papatay doon sa presidente, sa first lady, and speaker of the House. Imagine, the whole world is watching us. Sigurado ako may mga kamag-anak yung mga nakikinig sa atin abroad, at yung mga kamag-anak nila yon, I'm sure sa grocery, o may nakakasalubong sila at malamang Pilipino sila, tinatanong ano nangyayari sa bansa nyo. So, the whole world is watching us kung paano natin i-resolve itong the national problem, the threat to democracy, the the problem that is called Sara Duterte.
Well, I mean, I would say siguro dahil dyan, siguro nag-martial law na lang yung Korea kasi nawawalan sila ng bandwidth eh. Purong Pilipinas lang pinansin. Sabi ng Korea,
Oh.
gawin natin exciting ang politics natin.
Oh, pero ang ikli ng episode. Oh, I was expecting medyo mas madamas mahaba yung
Sabi
season.
ka
Ang
naman,
ikli ng season.
6 hours
Ang
lang.
ikli ng season eh.
Ano lang yun eh.
Oo, six
Trailer,
episodes lang
trailer.
yun.
Trailer. But may
Oo.
BTS naman sila
Mm-mm.
kagabi dun sa parliament protest nila. But going back to this, well, the Americans started the Trump season 2 already. So ang dami pa natin mga kalaban. But going back to this, how is your impeachment complaint different from the other impeachment complaints? Kasi ang dami, may pangatlo, lumabas na ba yung pangatlo? Sorry, hindi ko nakita yung
Wala pa, wala pa. We're
but
still
that's
waiting for it.
right.
Wala pa. Pero kasi parang the House leadership said na hindi pa tinatransmit to plenary yung aming complaints dahil meron daw nagpadala ng fillers that there will be a third complaint. Kasi once matransmit ito, sasarado na yung pintuan at mag-kick in na yung 1 year ban. Hindi na pwedeng mag-file after it for 1 year. Yung pagkakaiba, yung isang impeachment complaint ay nakafocus lang on the CIF, on the Confidential Intelligence Funds. Ang kanilang grounds ay betrayal of public trust. Yung impeachment complaint natin ay medyo mas malawak yung scope because we want to establish kung gano'ng kalapad yung breadth and scope ng abuses ni VP Sara Duterte. So ang range ay mula corruption, of course, nandyan yung betrayal of public trust, nandyan yung bribery, at nandyan yung other high crimes. Doon din natin nakalagay yung grave threats. Tingin ko kasi mahalaga na idiin natin sa impeachment na ito on top of yung ibang mga nabanggit kanina, lalo na yung CIF, isama natin yung grave threats. Kasi that shows the character of the person. Parang ang tanong natin sa ating sarili ay, ito ba yung gusto natin maging presidente? Kasi remember, she is a heartbeat away from the presidency. Is this the vice president that the country deserves?
That's
So
why I
yun yung
watched what
magandang
happened in
pag-usap.
Korea. No, that's why I watched in Korea. Like, honestly, if Sarah becomes the president, what makes her not declare martial law and what makes her think that she could get away with it? Because unlike South Korea, no offense to you guys in the Congress, they have a much more, let's just say, feisty record of resisting authoritarianism.
Yeah.
So,
Parang suddenly natakot ako, no? Naisip ko
sorry,
tuloy yung
I
thought
didn't
na
want to,
what
I
if?
didn't want,
What
bago pa
if?
naman eh. But seriously, diba? The reason I'm saying
Yeah,
this
oo,
is
oo.
South Korea for heaven's sake. And just I mean, Sarah is a lawyer also, just like President. Muntik ko sinabi Kim Jong Un, President Yun.
Ah,
I mean, that was also in a spirit of desperation. If someone in a country as prosperous and stable and feisty as South Korea would dare to even declare this and send the military and all of that, and the military said yes, actually they were with the presidents. Kaya nga, whoa, sabi ko this.
yeah,
I was like Philippines, no offense, like we're never nowhere close to where South Korea is in terms of civil society resistance, in terms of parliamentary resistance, because we saw that during the father, right? He almost went for nationwide
oo.
law. I mean, he was one step away from just closing the shop.
Yeah. And I'm sure they've learned from that, no? Na dapat ay well talaga lahat ng forms of resistance, talagang padapain, iligpit lahat ng mga kalaban kasi nakita nila na pwede talaga silang balikan. So grabe yung just the thought, yung bangungot, yung possibility of having her as vice president. So kaya gano'n na lang yung passion namin with this impeachment complaint. Kasi parang as long as she's vice president in the next more than 3 years, hindi tayo safe. Kasi she can be president anytime. And she has abused power before. She's abusing power now. She will definitely abuse power in the future.
And they're in a position of desperation. They're angry. I think hindi lang yun acting. She seems pissed off, really. So, ang haba ng list nila ng mga kalaban, just in case, di ba? Baka hindi na
Oo,
matutuloy. Di ba? I mean,
at sabi niya ganun, hindi daw siya magpapatawad even in the spirit of Christmas. So another threat.
and do you think, again, I know this is a sensitive question, that certain, let's just say, certain religious groups openly coming out on a limb and saying this is their position, what does it say about our democracy? Do you think that could make some senators think twice, if not even some congressmen? I know this is a very sensitive question. Maybe you can ask in general in terms of separation of church and state. I don't know, whatever you want to add.
Oo, pero kasi if we go to separation of church and state, hindi naman talaga yun yung intent ng provision na yun di ba? Yung separation of church and state, sinasabi lang na hindi pwede magkaroon ng state religion,
Walang
parang
taxation.
government could not favor a particular religion, etc. Pero sa dulo, tingin ko naman yung kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, political history, talaga nakatali doon sa mga faith-based groups, no? Our first EDSA revolution was something that was sort of led by, initiated by a religious group, the Catholic Church, no? So may gano'n naman tayong kasaysayan,
Your
no? Na
own
hindi mo
activism.
talaga my own activism was ignited by that particular experience. So hindi talaga siya mahihiwalay. Pero yung pagkakaiba lang ngayon ay um, ano ba? Yung pagkakaiba ngayon ay very direct yung statements. Kasi before naalala ko, pagka ganyan, magpapadala ka ng fillers, vaguely worded yung message. Pero
Pahapyaw.
ito talaga, very clear, pahapyaw, direktahan talaga. So, and I think that's the intention, para maaring magkabahan yung ilang mga senador, pero tingin ko mas malaki ang impact nito sa local. Those in the local races. Kasi alam naman natin yung power ng numbers nila in tightly contested local races. Parang 500, 700 votes yung difference, kayang-kayang i-fill
Right.
yung
Swing
gap
votes
ng
sila.
mga grupo nila. Oo.
They could be kingmakers of swing votes, so it's hard. This brings us to the last part of the conversation. I want to have more conversation with you, hopefully in the future, Percy, when we have some updates. I know medyo mahirap to push you on some of these questions, so strategically, I'll leave that for hopefully near future if there's a positive development. But going forward, malapit ng elections, fresh ka pa lang sa Congress, but obviously you want to be back soon, and hopefully with our other good friend, si Senator Chel Jokno. Ay, sorry, Senatorial Attorney Chel Jokno, Dean Chel Jokno, right? Can you tell me
Ah,
a little bit also about Chel Jokno joining the Akbayan? What were the circumstances? What was the logic?
yes. We're very happy to welcome Attorney Chel to Akbayan. So iniisip ng iba, yung madalas na tanong ay, Akbayan pala siya. Ang di alam ng mga tao, sa mahabang panahon, matagal nang katrabaho na Akbayan ang flag at si Attorney Chel. Kinukwento nga kay Attorney Chel, nung una kami nag-meet, sabi ko, alam mo Attorney Chel, yung first boss ko, kapatid mo, si my pet joke, no? Boss ko siya na nasa Freedom from Death Coalition ako.
Oh,
Yes.
kapatid pala
And
niya.
my si Maitet was my first boss sa FDC when she was president. And si Attorney Chel, sa mahabang panahon, katrabaho talaga siya na akbayan sa maraming mga causes at katrabaho ng ating mga community. So, nung finally nag-decide na hindi mo na siya tatakbo for the Senate, sabi natin, mainam na ampunin muna natin siya. At sayang kasi din yung platform na meron for 3 years. Malay mo, that would be enough para gumanda yung numero at maging mas viable, though viable at very qualified si Attorney Chel, para mas maging winnable when it comes to the next bid for the Senate. Pero itong mahalaga ngayon, paalala natin na hanggang ngayon kasi akala ng mga tao tumatakbo pa rin siya for the Senate. Pero si Attorney Chel is running as first nominee of Akbayan Party List. At ako yung second nominee. Ang third nominee ay isang Moro woman leader. Isang IP, si Dada Ismula from Zamboanga. Ayan, isang very brave and courageous IP woman leader from Zamboanga City.
Um, how many votes, again, I know this is proportional and all of that, but mathematically speaking, how many votes do you need to get the three of you in?
Okay. Yeah, nung lumang panahon kasi, madaling sagutin yung tanong mo. If we're going to use the original formula, sabihin ko lang 6%. But that's not the formula anymore. It's too complicated to explain. We will need mathematicians or
is there a range?
statisticians.
600,000
Uh,
votes,
uh,
1 million vote, yeah.
okay, simple lang. Para sigurado na mayroon kang 3 seats, you have to be number one. You have to rank one. Kasi parang nakabatay sa rank yung 3 seats. Tapos if you're a close second, you can get 3 seats also. Ibig sabihin kung maliit lang yung pagitan ng number one at number two. Ayan. To get 2 seats, you need around 800 to 850,000. Tapos to get 1 seat, you need around 300,000. Pero ang masalimuot lang yung getting 3 seats kasi that would require you being ranked one or a close number two to number one.
Um, paano daw kung four seats kasi si Diwata ay fourth nominee?
Oo.
Kailangan ba na ano,
Pwede,
Duterte Youth yung tatlo pa disqualify? Di ba yung ginawa ng Duterte? Cardemas pa yun? Pinalis sila.
oo, ginawa yan, di ba? Parang pina-resign lahat ng nominees para makapasok. Ayan. Meron din gumawa niyan recently pero hindi ko na lang sasabihin yung
Parang alam,
pangalan.
parang alam ko sino yan. Wala bang
Oo, pero
ano, the first letters ng ano niya, second name niya?
oo, para nakita ko lang siya kanina. So, yun. And there's a Supreme Court decision, I think, already. Yeah. So, kaya nga, just to cure that, alam mo kung anong ginawa ng COMELEC? Sabi ng COMELEC, para mas mahirap sa inyo na gawin yan, na pinaparesign nyo lahat ng nominees para may makapasok na iba, this time around, we were asked to submit 10 names for nominees. Nung araw kasi 6 lang eh. Okay, so now you have to submit 10 names for nominees. So if you're number 10, para ka makapasok, kailangan mag-resign si 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Medyo,
Ah.
medyo giyera yata ang kailangan para gawin yan. I mean, those are like
Mm-mm.
martial laws. So,
And this is your party list system now.
I know, it's crazy. So Percy, just to be clear dun sa mga followers natin, I think, medyo malapit na may number ng followers natin dun sa number na kailangan. So if sana we have a one-to-one correspondence. So if we can assure around 1 million votes, that means we can have more of Percy in the Congress.
Yeah. Yes, you can have more of me. Yes, please.
And how can people help, volunteer? I mean, again, this is very logistical. Now, practical questions na tayo kasi elections na.
Ah,
How can people help you and your
ayan.
sure you and Chell at the very least get in, but hopefully all three of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Very active ngayon yung Akbayan Youth. So young people, alam ko marami kang followers na young people. Yung mga young people natin, Akbayan Youth is now mobilizing yung mga children for Akbayan. So alam naman natin yung totoong age range ng children ay hindi lahat sila youth. Maraming children who are middle age. Maraming children na kasing edad ko. So we are now calling on all children for us to mobilize and support this run. So I hope that you'll be part of this very interesting adventure that is hopefully bring Senator Chell to the House of Representatives at makapasok ako at si Dada bilang mga iba pang kinatawan ng akbayan.
Right. Oh, I mean, of course, I'm completely non-partisan. I'm just here, just, lang, just saying general things. Lahat na naman guests natin, tinatanong natin na how can people help you, right? Ganun kasimple lang. Percy, last thing, what do you think should the opposition do in the coming months to stand a chance? Kasi sobrang mahigpit to, 'di ba? The Senate race is like close to impossible. Maraming malalaking pangalan ang alam ko nagpapanik na ngayon. Hindi ko na sasabihin sino, pero yung isa maraming lupa, yung isa maraming ano. Ganong kahigpit yung Senate fight ngayon.
Oo.
So how do you think the real opposition, hindi yung fake opposition, naging opposition lang dahil nawala ng position or confidential fund. Hindi yon.
ah,
Yung totoong opposition, liberal, progressive, whatever it is, how do you think they can find some space to be electorally competitive here? While realistically also laying down the foundation for 2028 because this is a long game.
yes. Ako tingin ko yung first challenge and first task talaga will be to go back to the natural base. Yung natural base kasi ito yung na-mobilize natin noong 2022. Some people call it the pink wave. Some people call it yung Lenny forces or the pink forces. Pero tingin ko kinakailangan balikan yon. that has to be harnessed and organized, not just for the midterms but also for the coming presidential elections. At yung mahalagang bahagi ng pagbalik na yon, sa ideally sana nagawa siya after elections, pero posible pa rin naman gawin siya ngayon. Maaaring hindi pareho yung intensity na makukuha nating outcome ngayon, pero andyan na siya eh. Nandun na yung infrastructure, nandun na yung passion ng mga tao. Yung challenge na lang is, how do we rekindle that?
How do we?
Well, there are some ideas, pero tingin ko yung isang mahalaga will be for our leaders to be able to convince these forces for them to be organized and mobilized. Tingin ko kasi ang kampanya talaga is about organization and mobilization eh. Whether organization mobilization of individuals and volunteers, organization and mobilization of resources, sa dulo yun eh. So, kinakailangan hanapin yung mga formulas that worked in 2022, i-adjust siya for our battle in 2025. Hanapin saan tayo malakas at paano tayo naging malakas at yun yung gamitin. Mag-capitalize tayo on that for 2025. And ako tingin ko napakalaki ng role ni Senator Risa Ontiveros sa ngayon, no? Kasi parang she's the de facto leader of the opposition in being the glue that keeps this together. So napakalagang tulungan natin siya in this endeavor.
The reason I'm asking you that, Percy, is because you were the campaign manager of Risa Ontiveros, and that was the first progressive senatorial candidate in recent memory. That was crazy. I mean, she's still the only progressive candidate, if not the only real opposition in the Senate. So from your experience, even though sinisisi mo yung sarili mo for that number 13 situation, what are the lessons we can learn from that? Because Risa won even in the 2022 elections. She's the only one
Yeah.
from the opposition, forget about progressive opposition, who made it to the national post, and therefore she's considered at least on de facto leader of the opposition. What are the lessons you have learned without giving away cookies to the wrong side or the wrong people?
Well,
Yeah, I know what's going on.
yeah,
Sige lang.
yeah. Okay, iniisip ko lang yung ano yung pang Miss Universe na answer. Yung pang Miss Universe na answer,
Sino
yung isa sa
mag-ano?
reflection ko, nung, sorry, isa sa na-realize ko after the 2010 elections, no, nung number 13 si Risa, people were telling me congratulations kasi parang sabi nila, not bad for a first run, a progressive candidate, galing sa Democratic left, tapos nag number 13. No? Yung isang lesson nun ay, sanay kasi tayo nung araw sa kampanya sa party list na driven talaga by passion. Kasi alam naman natin sa party list nung araw, organizing talaga ang hakot ng boto. The more communities you organize, the more movements you consolidate, the more chances of getting more votes. No? So okay yon. Pero sa dulo, nung 2010, when we had to target more than our usual base, yung na-realize ko talaga that election is a technology. And a technology na hindi pa masyadong gamay ng mga progressives. So I think that's one critical
In
lesson.
the
How
retail
do
politics
we
part of it? You mean the analytics, retail politics? Is that what you're saying?
analytics, retail politics, resource mobilization, ground organizing, campaign organizing, advertising, etc. So it's a technology that we have to master and learn. Oo.
A machine.
Minsan kasi, di ba, it's a machine really, and so many moving parts that we have to grease, that we have to jumpstart, kickstart, and you have to manage. No? Ako tingin ko naman, medyo nag-evolve na rin kahit papaano. And Risa's victory is proof na may natututunan yung mga progressives sa mga karanasan. And hopefully that would be enough to deliver better outcomes in the midterms and even in 2028.
As a good friend, as her campaign manager, everything, how do you feel about Rizon Tiveros really emerging as a hero to a lot of person, heroine, if I can put it that way? I mean, in mainstream, ang usapan ko, hindi among, us progressives. I mean, you talk to ordinary people, oy, gusto ko yan, matapang yan, okay yan. Because I used to hear always, masyado siyang left, alam mo naman, sa Pilipinas, Reagan,
naalala ko dati yung lagi,
yeah.
laging sinasabi ng mga tao, masyado siyang matapang. No? Tapos lalo na nung panahon na yung parang pagbabae, dapat hindi masyadong matapang. Pero tingin ko yung karanasan nito nakaraang 6 na taon created a need for political leaders like Rizzo Ontiveros. Kailangan yung tapang, yung courage na yun, at yung firm na mga principles na meron siya. At tingin ko, ito nangyayari ngayon this is something that is not difficult to imagine 10 years ago. Kasi parang the Risa that we knew 10 years ago is the same Risa that we have now. And nagkataon lang, nagbago yung konteksto ng lipunan. Mas nakita ng mga tao na mayroon tayong pangangailangan for politicians and political leaders like Risa Ontiveros.
On that very beauty queen, no, no, thank you so
And
much.
I thank you.
Ah, thank you. My family. Well, Percy, obviously, alam mo naman, napanood mo naman yung mga emotion. 3 hours kaya namin. But I know you're tired. There's so much.
Oo.
May
Nag-prepare ako, nag-sandwich ako. Nag-sandwich ako before the interview kasi I was expecting na marathon. Yeah.
Yeah, but I realized baka ayoko ma-burn ng bridges, baka mapahamak kita or something. At may mga nagsabi na may hearing ngayon ng Accountability and Transparency Committee, etc.
Public accountability.
Public, yeah, exactly. So I don't want, to distract you from your work. Thank you so much, Percy, for that. Hopefully just an opener, no, in a long saga for progressive politics, and hopefully you will be my balance to Ronald Llamas, so I don't think is the best representative of the movement. So kung kailangan ko ng matinong counterpart, I will call. Obviously, I could call someone else, but let's not go there. I'm just whatever, okay. I'm just gonna call you Percy. Totoo ba itong sinasabi ni Ronald Llamas? But if ever there's something you cannot say, we'll bring over Ronald to say it just in case. Except yung body shaming at saka yung mga ibang ginagawa niya. Thank you so much, Ka Percy. Is there anything people should look forward to in terms of your interventions? Do you have a privileged speech to give soon? How can people follow you in terms of your platforms for them to know about your advocacy? Anong ginagawa mo? Ano kailangan gawin? Especially with the upcoming elections.
Ayan, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, it's Akbayan Rep Percy. On Twitter, it's Percy Sen. I think I'm also on TikTok, no? Para may TikTok account yan akong
Wait,
ibubuksan
wait,
soon.
wait,
Oo.
you're not sure you're on that's
I'm
weird.
not, nag-shoot na ako ng material kanina. I'm not so proud of it, pero mukhang I have no choice but to go into TikTok na. So, I'm looking forward to that new world and new realm. Yeah. O, sana kayanin ko. Matanda na ako for this, pero kakayanin natin yan. Yung kailangan bantayan ng mga kababayan natin, the next 2 weeks will be very critical. It will show us kung ano ba talaga ang mangyayari dito sa impeachment complaint. Kasi the complaint has yet to be transmitted to plenary. It has yet to be referred to Committee on Justice. We have yet to know kung ito ba ay didiretso sa Senado. So hopefully, sana amidst the fanfare nitong Pasko, yung shopping natin, family gatherings, and Christmas parties, mabigay tayo ng panahon para subaybayan itong nangyayari sa impeachment. Marami pong salamat.
It's December 9. I remember when I was just a humble staffer. On December 12, if I'm not mistaken, something big happened. This is the impeachment of the former Chief Justice Corona, the late Justice Corona. I have my own views on that, including my critical views. But what I'm saying is that you never know. Akala mo tapos ng session, everyone is moving on, and then big things are happening. So on that note, Percy, that cliffhanger, gaya natin ng Korea, diba? Cliffhanger para may second episode soon. Hopefully we can catch up soon, Percy. Mabuhay ka, and talk to you soon. Congressman Percy Sendanya of the Akbayan Party List. Thank you very much, sir.
Maraming salamat.
Salamat po. God bless. Talk to you soon.